Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is going to be a video on the latest about Harry and Meghan in LA. I just want to say a big shout out and thank you for all the support with my channel. I have done royal readings on Harry and Meghan from 2+ years ago, and I continue to do royal readings on them. So if you have subscribed and you're a new subscriber and viewer, thank you for tuning in and supporting the channel. There's been many videos, over 60,000 views, 100,000 views. My readings are extremely accurate and I'm very, very proud of the success, and I'm very, very happy that people have been gravitating towards the readings and the videos I do on the lovely couple and have been able to get updates and chat amongst themselves. And it's really been a real treat to cover the royal family. I have much respect for all involved and I'm wishing them all the best. So in this video I'm going to be talking about some comments that other celebrities have made in regards to Harry and Meghan in LA. And honestly speaking, I just want to speak from the heart because I have covered them for some time now, out of pure just curiosity. And all the royal fans, I'm sure, love videos like this and other readings out here on the internet for us to kind of get more information with and to, see, as the years progress, how things have changed, how things have, turned out basically. So I'm going to be touching upon Lindsay Lohan and Sharon Osbourne and basically adding my own thoughts to their statements, as well as I have their letter here. The first time I ever printed out like actual the actual letter this time, because I did want to honor what Harry and Meghan have said and I want to give my take on it. Okay, so this is gonna just be for royal fans alike, whoever wants to, basically chime in and watch this, you're more than welcome to comment respectfully below, and I look forward to a discussion in the chat, okay? So the first comment I want to touch upon is from Sharon Osbourne, and this is what she said, okay, in regards to Harry and Meghan in LA. So she called it a nightmare, okay, and this is why she said it was a nightmare. She said it's going to be a nightmare because she says she thinks that it's alien that a prince would be living in Los Angeles, California. Now, there's been reports that they're in Malibu. Now they're talking about Bel Air. So these are like, really, really main hotspots. Los Angeles, Bel Air, these are hotspots basically. And then she wanted to say this: if they're fed up with the press in the UK, they're really going to be fed up with the press living in LA. I just think it's so foreign. I'm kind of disappointed in a way that Harry would end up in LA. So that was a little bit of a snippet of her statement, and then she went on to say that she hopes to live in Santa Barbara and somewhere else that's more normal. Okay, if they're going to be in California, Sharon was saying that they hope it's going to be somewhere like Santa Barbara that's more normal. Okay, and that they basically would not have a life. Okay, the paparazzi, the press is going to be a nightmare. They would not have a life. So with that statement from Sharon, I felt it was a very wise statement, and this is what really called me to make this video, is because I think that many people, including, other types of celebrities, get caught up in the idea or the fantasy of just LA being, a certain way when it's actually, the opposite. So a lot of people, what they do is they go to LA, they go to California, in search of fame. Most people know that when you want to, make a statement, or you want to improve your career, your profession, network, you go to places like that. You go to New York, you go to Miami, you go to Los Angeles, you go to places like that where things are happening. So Sharon's perspective, I felt, was a very wise one, because to me, in my opinion, it could not be more true. The UK press has its, things about it. The American press has their things about it, but there's no comparison when it comes down to how sensationalized and how frequent, the American press is. We're not the worst in the world, but there is a lot of things that do happen, okay, that do happen by the hands of, paparazzi and journalists and people who, want the story, they want the dirt, they want to get that certain picture of someone blowing up, they want to get that certain video footage of someone walking away from someone or causing a scene, that's what it's about. It's show business. It's, the glitz and the glamour. So, as people say, across the pond, it's not really like that. Of course, people in the UK can have their ways where there's certain reality shows and there's certain celebrities, but there is a kind of, I want to say, part where they can't really cross as many boundaries. Okay, there's certain things put in place in the European media that is not as sensationalized or I feel intrusive like the American press is. So I do believe and feel and agree with Sharon 1,000% that if they really wanted to escape the media, if they really wanted to raise their son, or if they have more children in a safer environment, that going to, Malibu or Bel Air or Beverly Hills or Calabasas is not ideal. So Sharon was suggesting Santa Monica, Santa Barbara, which, it makes sense. But here's the thing. It's still a hot spot. It's still going to be a place where paparazzi could literally just drive 30 miles down, for a couple minutes or so, and they'll be there. You know what I'm saying? Like if they're going to be in California, the paparazzi will be there. And I think that it's important to note this from Sharon's perspective, because Princess Diana, as we all know, tragically, rest in peace to her, she did die at the hands of a paparazzi chase. There was a lot of hoopla, there's still to this day, there is so many conspiracies and ideas as to what exactly went down in her final moments, but it was photographed until her last breath. Diana was covered on the television. She was photographed. She was haunted. She was hounded. They found her in Paris. They got her. So if that's in Europe and we're talking about LA, where, the Hollywood Scarlets are, you really can't expect to have no paparazzi presence and no false stories written about you and no blown up pictures of you in the magazines. Even people who are not celebrities who go to LA seeking out a career in film, seeking out a career in writing or directing or producing or being a singer, everybody knows that you go to California, you go to LA. That's where the lights are. That's where the action is. That's where the connections you can make are. Everyone knows that, So I do think that she was very wise. And I think that it was almost like an extension of like an olive branch to say, a fellow British, Brit to Brit, that, this is not what you think this is. And of course, I do believe that, naturally, Meghan would have more experience as to, what to expect. But Prince Harry, even though he's had a camera follow him all his life, it's not quite like, the American press. It's not going to be quite the same. So, if they're looking for a more low key, atmosphere, but then that's just basically not it. And I thought it was very interesting how she took it so far to say that they're just going to have no life. Sharon made it very, very clear that, they're not even going to have a life. And so, here I kind of want to inject Lindsay's statement. So Lindsay Lohan has been, a really, really, quite bright star. She's had her ups and downs with her own personal struggles. But what I like about Lindsay Lohan is she's always been quite transparent about, her trying to overcome certain things. And I respect her for that. And she was also nice enough to add her shock and, a little bit of advice to Meghan and Harry. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up what Lindsay said. All right. So this is what Lindsay said about them, going to LA. So straight up, Lindsay Lohan, who also lived in LA, all these people I'm talking about have been in LA. They know the industry, right? She said that they picked the wrong city. So Lindsay said flat out, they picked the wrong city. If they're wishing to escape the glare and the paparazzi, they would, unless they own another different private beach, it wouldn't work out. So, even Malibu, which is more, kind of, I think less than, LA or Beverly Hills, Malibu is still, West Hollywood, Malibu, it's still, it's still gonna be attracting that. And she was saying, in regards to Malibu, you can't even go to the beaches. You can't surf out far enough. It's just really hard to do anything publicly there. The timing right now, luckily for them and everyone, is more at home. But once that's over, just get drivers. So she's saying to take a step forward into the new life, they would need to be somewhere that maybe she's saying more private or, near the beach. But she's saying even then, you can't even surf out far enough and they're still going to find you. So, she's basically saying that it's not ideal. If Meghan wants to bring little Archie on the beach, expect paparazzi to get, the picture of your legs and your bum, if you have cellulite, if you have stretch marks, if there's anything that could be a flaw, it's going to be magnified. And, even if Harry and Meghan, did have problems in the UK, it's not going to be in any sense as major than it will be in America. When something is reported in America or taken a photograph of, it spreads like wildfire, opposed to a lot of stories that are, put out in the press over there across the pond. We don't get all those stories. There is certain stories that, the UK public get, or in Europe just in general get, that we don't really see unless we, buy into an Italian, Spain, or British magazine, or, subscribe or, purchase it, from over here, either online or, ebook, whatever, on a smartphone device. So regardless of that, if you're not, buying into that, or you're not, or on top of that, if you don't have certain TV stations, because there's certain TV stations where they have, like Good Morning Britain, we don't have that over here in the States. You see what I'm saying? So there could be certain stories and things like that are publicized and put out over there that people in America may necessarily not get. But the difference is, if it's publicized and it's put out and published in America, chances are in the UK, you will hear about it. It will be blown sometimes, a lot of times, out of proportion. Okay. So, these two lovely ladies who made this comment, Sharon and Lindsay, who, one's British origin, the other one's American from New York, Lindsay's from New York. And, they've lived around the world. These celebrities who know certain people and have certain social circles, they've been in the hot spots. They've been photographed themselves. They have had issues themselves with the media. Lindsay can attest to that. Lindsay can attest to being followed out of her apartment or being, criticized for what she does or how she parties. They're going to follow. They are going to follow. So, let that, I just really feel like at the end of the day, people are going to come back to videos like this, after all is said and done, seriously. And they're going to be saying, everyone was right. And it's not, I feel, so much angled towards criticizing or telling them what to do or being in their business. The reality is they're public figures. I mean, for God's sake, Prince Harry is a son of Princess Diana, one of the biggest princesses of any monarch, of any family on the planet. It's just a fact. Harry was not born into a family of not being, photographed and not being publicized. Over there across the pond, Harry's grown up with that, but he's never been put in a position now where he's having to kind of, bump shoulders with reality stars and stuff like that. So I really do feel that it's quite like Sharon says, it's alien, it's strange. And I really think that, especially when it comes to marriage, I mean, look at how many divorces, look at how many celebrity divorces and, children we've seen grow up with the spotlight, especially in LA. Look at how we've seen these things turn out, and I'm not saying that it will happen because, everyone has free will. It's their life. what we are saying is that, what I am saying is that we do know that it's not the best environment. And there has been reports, that Prince Harry has unfortunately struggled with mental health. Prince Harry did lose a friend to suicide, not too long ago. So there is definitely red flags there, in my opinion. And I just think, humbly, I just want to say on behalf of them, I saw their wedding, I'm British. I was born over there. I was raised over there. I moved over here when I was like 7. I live in America now. So I've lived in both places too. You see what I'm saying? I've lived in London, England. I've lived, and I live, near Miami. Like I know, I've been to California. I've been to New York. I visited many times. Like I'm in America, so I do get, I see how the media is. You see what I'm saying? So I understand, the severity of seeing certain celebrities over time, buckle under the pressure. And especially if Meghan's going to try to get her name out here and do X, Y, and Z, it's a completely different environment. So, if Harry has struggled with, substance abuse or, mental health issues, LA is not the place for that. Being in a fish bubble with camera lenses, directed at you, that's not where you want to be. So unfortunately for Prince Harry, that's what he's known, since he was little. That's what he's known is having to, walk outside and know that at least one person will photograph him. But the thing is that it's a society and it's an energy in which, all bets are off. So even this letter right here that I'm going to read a little bit of, even this letter right here that, Harry and Meghan apparently, put their energy into and time into to make, they have said that they have cut all ties, and they have zero tolerance for the British media. And once again, it just feels like, why would you, in a way, I almost want to feel bad for them because, at least Harry, of course, it just definitely feels like, you're running away from what is, it's inevitable, it's truly inevitable. And the fact that they've stepped down as senior royals, I can only imagine how the paparazzi will try to photograph them, from what angle. And here's my thing. If they really want to escape from the paparazzi, even if they're going to be in a hot spot in LA and, where all the other celebrities are out, on the hills, if they really, really feel that way, then they're not going to be going to lavish events. They're not going to be on Rodeo Drive. They're not going to be wanting to, purposely look at the camera. Like if there is a paparazzi, right? And for example, Meghan's going out shopping. I'm not going to expect to see Meghan trying to get the camera directly on her. What I'm going to expect Meghan and Harry to do is hide. Like Leonardo DiCaprio, for example, he's quite a private person. Leonardo DiCaprio socializes, but he's very, very, I think he's a good example of staying out of the noise. He does a lot of private events. He doesn't like to have a lot of hoopla. He likes to focus on charity. So Leonardo DiCaprio is actually a really good example of that, I feel, if they want to kind of look into what Leo does. But it's like Leo, even if he does go to a party, he does a, all black out tinted window. He's not walking up. He's not hiring other people to come photograph him. If they're there, they're there. So with Harry and Meghan, what I'm expecting, if this is really how they feel and they're going to be in LA, they're going to be somewhere in California where there's people that are going to see them, what I'm expecting to see is them have, a bag, Meghan holding a bag, covering her face, or, not going to after parties, not going to any premieres. That would prove to me, and I think really solidify that they don't want any parts of being a celebrity or being famous or anything like that. Because if they do, if you are still current and you are still in the know, then that means that you want that attention. That means that you do want people to catch your angle and publish the best photograph of you. That means that you want people to work with you. You want people to refer to you as, famous or whatever. So if they don't want any parts of that, let's just be frank. It's just best to go to a state or go to a city where there is none of that. You know, there is professional athletes and actresses and actors who purposely, and it may not be fair or good, but there is many celebrities who are super rich, who are super famous, who we've not heard from years. You know why? Because they live certain places that don't attract that. Their behavior doesn't contradict itself. This couple has done that many times. So, and on top of that, Harry's income versus Meghan's lifestyle. That's going to be the thing that I think is going to break the camel's back, if anything. Okay. If anything, because as we know, you know, the latest purse, the latest fashion designer, the latest this, latest that, we're not sure. The British public are not sure. You know, they already said we're not paying for security. You know, Canada said we're not paying for it. Australia said we're not paying for it. Even Trump in America says we're not paying for it. So security, their kind of security is gonna cost a pretty penny. So if you kind of step back, right, and you look at everything I've said here, it's a catch-22 for sure. It's a catch-22. Especially when it comes to raising kids. You know, if you want to have a couple, you know, tots running around, you know, being in LA with kids, you know, it's like you're asking for trouble a little bit. You know, I mean, those kids are going to be so heavily watched. And it's really quite tragic. I mean, at least behind palace walls, you know, they're able to have, you know, certain things put in place. Even the schools, you know, even the schools that William and Kate bring their kids to, you know, they're not entirely you know, up for grabs. You see what I'm saying? They're not going to be, you're not going to see William and Catherine's kids, you know, every single day or every other week, you know, mingling with the Hollywood elite. But the way it seems is that if they were going to be really, you know, permanently living there, what we would expect to see, right, is Meghan and Harry's kids, you know, mixing and mingling with other celebrity kids. So celebrity. So that's what I'm expecting, you know, if this is how it's going to be, you know, I could only pray for, you know, Harry's mental health and stability, because even before he moved, he was struggling quite a bit. You know, there was many times where he was caught crying, you know, during speeches and, you know, looking quite distressed. He even said himself how it's been quite hard. His close friends have said it's been quite hard for him in LA. So, you know, it's not fabrication. You know, it's evident. It's within the letters they speak. It's in what they're saying, what they're doing. So there's frustration all around. You see what I'm saying? So my thing is bottom line this. If you are famous or if you are well known and you don't want any problems and you have money, you're going to go someplace like a countryside, a rich countryside. You're going to go someplace where, you know, an island. You're going to buy a private island. You know, there's some footballers who buy private islands and they raise their kids there, or, you know, they have grandparents kind of, you know, step in, you know, Doria, maybe Meghan's grandmother can kind of take over at some point and they can kind of get away. You know, there's many ways to look at it. But if they're going to go into this, you know, just the regular way that most people go into it is finding, you know, the most glamorized hill with the most paparazzi, you know, bumping shoulders with, you know, the elite. If you're going to do it that way, you can't in the same breath expect everything to be kumbaya. You know, I just think that if Harry and Meghan are expecting no press at all and no pictures and no fabrication and, you know, no big, you know, front page splashes, they're wrong. They're wrong. And so from what I've seen in the letter, which I'm going to read to you guys in a minute, from what it seems like in the letter is that, you know, now with the UK press, we could probably expect a American letter too. Because chances are, if they're going to do a statement like this for the UK press, I am definitely feeling that they're probably going to do one for the American press. And just quite frankly, I do feel more so for Harry, because like anybody can honestly relate and knows that when you move anywhere like this, especially across country, it's quite hard to adjust. Even if you love the place that you've moved to, right? Just with the boxes and just with the, you know, the culture, the weather, temperature, everything, naturally you have to adapt. You have to adapt. And right now we're in a very, very, you know, heated time. You know, everything right now in the world is kind of just going left. It's going a little bit kind of doolally. So in order for this couple that's had a lot of scrutiny and has done a lot of controversial things from the beginning, it's just really, for me personally, it's really hard to see them, being in America and not having issues. That's really what I feel is quite scary, because like we know, his mother did die from the hands of, just being shown. She was followed. She was. It was just always. It seemed to be always an issue, and especially in the latter years of her life. Unfortunately, Diana, she suffered. She suffered from eating disorders, anxiety. So I don't want any of them, anyone. I don't want Kate, Meghan, Harry. I don't want any of them to get caught in what Diana got caught in, And if you're putting yourself in harm's way, you must take warning. You must take heed of the signs that you're getting. You see what I'm saying? And like Lindsay Lohan was saying, you're going to have to hire cars. You're going to have to, if you go on the beach, you can't go on the beach in peace. So, in general, it's a sad life, really. I mean, it sounds quite sad. Like you can't do, we can't feel entirely bad. I understand that for rich people of that caliber, but naturally, of course, if you do want to have private time and you do want to just hang out on the beach and just take a nap, read a book, you can't do that. There's always going to be something or someone looking at you, and that's quite uncomfortable. So once again, if they wanted to get away from that, why move to LA? LA is one of the last places that you would go to. There's some beautiful places and states in America that, have beaches and have, malls and, other celebrities, spread out. There's places like that. So, it kind of feels to me like you're asking for trouble. You're asking for attention. You're asking to be a part of a certain, social group. But if you don't want to be a part of that, then, I guess maybe Santa Monica, Santa Barbara, somewhere more quiet would be the best option, but not an actual area where other celebrities live. Because naturally, if they get a mansion right on a street with other A-listers, A-list celebrities, real A-list celebrities, then of course, the paparazzi are going to know exactly who to target. They're going to know exactly what car or rent a car. They're going to know exactly where to find them. And once again, my concern is Harry. Once everything kicks back up full speed and they start to watch them, there's not going to be enough times Harry can say move away from the car that's going to make them move away from the car. There is no exact rules put in place from the state or any other country really saying that paparazzi can't do this and can't do that. There was a time when Britney Spears, was followed into bathrooms, for God's sake. Britney Spears was followed into gas stations, bathrooms, and she was the it girl. And Britney is iconic, but Britney was like the it girl. And look at her mental health. Like I'm a big fan of Britney. Look at how she's deteriorated because of just that constant attention, that constant them just feeding off of her. And she was at the peak, she was at the exact peak of, album after album, hit after hit, concert after concert. So in a way, every celebrity that is known, whether they're a singer or they're, unlike a royals most of the time don't have these issues, but we have a mixed bag here. You see, we have a celebrity and we have a royal hybrid. So we have a celebrity and royal hybrid for the first time ever that we're seeing with Harry and Meghan. So naturally, if you're one of the first, royals to do this, to make such a big leap, it's going to be publicized. It's going to be watched. So what I'm saying is, they can't think that nothing is ever going to happen. And like I said, when things get really heated, when there's juicy things going on, when there's rumors, even unfortunately, which rumors suck, but when there's rumors going on, like I said, with Britney Spears and other celebrities, Halle Berry, Lindsay Lohan, Ben Affleck, there's been many times we've seen throughout history where celebrities are lashing out. You see what I'm saying? And the last thing you want, even though they're not senior royals now, the last thing you want, right? Can you imagine is Harry and Meghan, caught arguing at a restaurant or caught, going to Walgreens and like, there's like a malfunction in her outfit. Like, the last thing you want is to be in that position. So even though being under the Queen's thumb and living in the UK, and maybe Meghan not mixing with people that she really would like, and it maybe not as fun, or she couldn't wear what she wants to wear, even though she was having problems over there, in some aspects you think to yourself, well, at least she would have helpers, or she would have somebody to, kind of, warn her. They should have warned her, I feel. But of course, when it's just her, it's all going to be on her shoulders. So at that point, she can't blame the Queen. At that point, she can't blame the UK press. It's going to be in America. And in America, with the press, it's all you, honey. It's all you. There's going to be nobody in your team you can blame, nothing. It's going to be just all eyes on you. So I hope they're ready for that. So looking at the letter here, I just want to kind of pinpoint some things that they wanted to they wanted to make clear in their letter. And I think because this is a total complete shift, and very telling as to how the future will be for this couple, I wanted to, just for time's sake, include some things in the letter that I thought were interesting that they added. So here's a couple things that they actually said that I think were interesting from here. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have watched. So this is interesting. So they don't want to be royals, but they still refer to him as Duke and Duchess. So it's like, shouldn't you be over there? Okay, but anyway, Duke and Duchess of Sussex have watched people they know, as well as complete strangers, have their lives completely pulled apart for no good reason, other than the fact that salacious gossip boosts advertising revenue. With that said, please note the Duke and Duchess of Sussex will not be engaging with your outlet. There will be no correlation and zero engagement. There is coordination and zero engagement. This is also a policy being instated for their communications team in order to protect that team from the side of the industry that readers have never seen. This policy is not about avoiding criticism. It's not about shutting down public conversation or censoring accurate reporting. Media have every right to report on this, and indeed have an opinion on the Duke of Sussex, good or bad, but it can't be based on a lie. They also want to be very clear, this is not in any way to blanket policy for all media. And they go to say the Duke of Sussex are looking forward to working with journalists and media organizations all over the world, engaging with grassroots media, regional and local media, and young and upcoming journalists to spotlight issues and causes that also desperately need acknowledging. And they look forward to doing whatever they can to help other future opportunities for more diverse and underrepresented voices who are needed more now than ever. But here's my thing, what I'll add to that. Now that's a very interesting take, but what I'll also add to this part about grassroots media, up and coming, and spotlight causes, well, they were doing that all in England. That charitable angle is what the royal family do. It's what they do. So it's just very unfortunate that they were not able to make it work over there for whatever reason, because what they're talking about seems like what they were already doing. There was pictures of them in London, going to radio stations. William and Catherine have even done that, BBC Radio. So, I mean, this just seems like they're trying to do what they've done in England without the senior royal title for now in America. But everything that the media has talked about with Meghan is directed towards movies, is directed towards getting, just being an actress. What they're doing right now has nothing really to do with, I would say, spotlighting issues. I mean, starring in a film can do that, but once again, it's like, this just sounds like they should be in England. It just sounds like they would be able to have a bigger impact in the royal family. And maybe they don't like what the royal family represents, what the royal family has done, or how they've treated them. I get that. Like, I really get that. But I think Diana would be delighted if Harry was to find a young, nice lady, settle down, and, with his brother, be able to, shape the royal firm over there. That's what I really feel that Diana would have. And first of all, if Diana was alive, she'd be in England. They'd be in England. If Princess Diana was alive, they wouldn't be in California. They wouldn't be in LA. They wouldn't be in Bel Air. They wouldn't be in Malibu. Diana would be in England. So you have to question, if she was still alive, would they be doing this? Would she even co-sign this? And the answer is no. I don't think that Princess Diana would co-sign this. I think if they really wanted to go to America, eventually Diana would say that, you know, okay, I support it. But the reality is, if they were still that family unit, I do believe that they would still be in England, and William and Harry and his mother and his new wife and son, okay, would be supported. You know, you would hope, that they would be supported by the Queen and the royal firm. And once again, it's very, I think now reading this, it really puts it into perspective from what I've covered with them, what I've seen. It puts into perspective how much they actually loathe the UK press. But once again, the UK press is not as bad as the American press. So I really just, it's going to be quite interesting to see how they cope and if they're going to have any issues. And hopefully they don't. It'd be great if they don't. But once again, it's all bets, all cards on the table. When it comes to the American press, all cards on the table, and they will be talked about, they will be watched, and they will be photographed. So thank you all for watching. And also, just to add before I go, they're talking about the economy of clickbait and distortion. We are encouraged that this new approach to be heard and respected. So, it sounds like they're saying that the UK press has lied. That's what I'm getting, just to close this letter and this video. It seems like they're saying that the press has lied and that, they're making money, but that's a given, and like I said, in America, they make even more money. They have even more exposure. These things circulate even faster than in the UK press. Alongside the Australian press. So good luck with that, Harry and Meghan. So this is my take on the statements, guys, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. This video, I think, will be visited for many, many years to come, and very interesting indeed. So all the best. We'll see what's to come. Bye.